Terrific. All right. Well, listen, um, quick little introduction. My name is Mario Soto. I'm a professor of sports psychology and performance. This is one of the first times I've ever partnered with an organization. And the reason I've done that is because not only was it time, but it's the right synergy with the right people. And what we're hoping to do over the course of this next series of conversations, I don't like to use the term lecture, but series of conversations, is we're going to talk to you guys about what it takes to be an elite athlete, what it takes to understand this topic of mental toughness. We're going to open up these opportunities for us to have a dialogue and a questions and answer session. And we're gonna tackle a topic every month. This is an extension of the work I do privately with teams, individuals, Olympic athletes, pro athletes. We're going to have sessions down the road where we're going to open it up for coaches so we can coach the coaches, and maybe even open this up for opportunities to be able to have an informational dialogue with parents. Because I know as a former sports parent, there are things that I know now that I wish I would have known way back in the day. So at the end, I'm gonna open it up and ask if anyone has questions. I'll try my best to be able to speak to whatever questions you have. You can't tell, but I've got some of my graduate students who are actually on the call, which is great. So at some point, we're going to open them up and let them loose and have them participate in giving you guys one-on-one sessions for anybody or any of those organizations that are affiliated with Legends. Because at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is create this mousetrap so that everyone can get I'm going to say an opportunity to learn how to become a better athlete from beginning to end, soup to nuts, and talk about physical nutrition, mental toughness, and just overall, just overall information. So this is a repository to get every question answered relative to what you can do as an athlete, or you can do as a parent, or you can do as a coach to try and improve what it is that you do in this sport world. So I'm going to switch over and share a screen. I encourage you to pay attention because there's about 12 slides, not much, but there's going to be a nice summary of what we're going to talk about over the course of the next 12 months. And then, as I said, if you have questions relative to what we're hoping to do, what we're going to talk about, if you have comments about a particular subject that you would like for us to talk about, then we're going to go ahead and we'll do that. All right. Let me let Julian in. Let me share. Open this up. Okay. Let's see if we can minimize this a little bit. There we go. All right. So yes, that's me. I think you've probably seen a couple of the promotional pieces. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. But I've had the privilege of working with some pretty special populations in sport. Yes, I was lucky enough to be a part of what we'll call something legendary, and that was the run for the first national championship of Mississippi State. But I also have had a lot of blessed opportunities with other populations in sport. I've had the privilege of working with professional basketball players. I currently have 3 different athletes in different disciplines who are trying to make the Paris 2024 Olympics. I have college teams I'm still working with. I have individuals as young as 13. And what we all have in common is we want to look at trying to get better. I am in conversations with Red Bull right now. And for those of you who watched maybe the Formula One racing yesterday in Miami, Red Bull is a big sponsor for Formula One racing, but Red Bull is also a big sponsor for a lot of elite sports, high diving, airplane acrobatics. There aren't, I think, the X Games. So there aren't too many things they don't touch. And what they try and do is they try and give their elite athletes the best resources possible, because those people are doing things that are just absolutely mind-boggling. So we're going to share some of that information, some of that knowledge with you guys every time you guys dial in. Because what you guys again have in common is you're all trying to do something at a higher level. You're all trying to do something where you can maybe get better with what it is that you're doing. And it doesn't matter if you're 13 or if you're 33, if you're a dad, a mom, or if you were an athlete, we can all improve what it is that we're trying to do. All right, so let me let Albert in and let's change the slide. So I wish I could figure out how to close this window, but this slide talks about what mental toughness is. Okay, it's different things to a lot of different people, but at the end of the day, we can figure out what it looks like because when we see it, we admire it. You know, and we're looking at Rafa Nadal. He's playing through a lot of different injuries, but yet there's no question. We know that when the guy shows up on the court, he plays with a ferocity and an intentionality where he's playing to win. He's playing to compete and compete his tail off. So mental toughness doesn't matter what gender you are, doesn't matter how big you are, how tall you are, how gifted you are. Mental toughness is about how committed you are to wanting to be the kind of athlete you want to be respected to be, and for your and remembered for your performance. So it doesn't matter who you are. What matters is what you're made of and what you're willing to do in spite of circumstances to be that special athlete. So I said earlier, I'm a professor, so we talk a lot about studies. We talk a lot about examples. I get the privilege of studying different populations in sport. I get the privilege of studying why somebody like this guy, Tom Brady, I don't think you can see this because I'm sharing the screen, but I've got his big manual here called the T12 method. It's how to do what you love to do better and longer. There's a reason why he's the GOAT. And we'll talk a little bit about why people like Tom Brady, why people like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, why these people separate themselves, Mike Trout, why these people separate themselves from everybody else so that you can get an idea of what you can do without somebody else having to tell you what to do, but what you can do to help yourself become better. Well, there's some issues that are out there. I'll call them issues, that challenges, if you will. A lot of kids, by the time they're 14, they get burned out. And part of the reason why they do that is because it's a variety of things. It could be they overthink the game. They've been doing too much. It's too much of a grind. They've not had any fun. They forgot to have fun or how to have fun. They maybe have too high expectations and an unrealistic timeline to be able to accomplish a certain goal. So they get depressed really quick instead of looking at the process of trying to get better and to rebuild. At the college and pro level, it isn't that much different. A lot of people end up working to understand, how do I transition into becoming that kind of player? This morning, I had a phone call with a professional basketball player in the Philippines. He was a great college player, and now he's stepping onto the court with grown men who have been playing at a different level, at a higher level for a much longer period of time. And he's a little frustrated because he doesn't think he is where he should be. Well, sometimes we got to give ourselves a little chance to get there. So which means we need to be patient. So here's the first homework assignment. Even though this is kind of a generic conversation and there was nothing intended other than for you guys just to hear, I want everybody to get either your phone out or a notebook and a pen, and I want you to write down this exercise and this activity because we're going to build on it for the next class. So I want you to think about one area where you feel mentally weak, where you're struggling. And I want you to write it down. I want us to be able to have something to go to every time we have a conversation. I don't want this to just be me talking. I want this to be me talking and educating so that you get information, and then you give yourself some activities, some exercises so that you can actually get your hands dirty and learn how to apply these things that we're going to talk about, all 12 topics. So again, Write down one specific area where you're struggling that you think maybe you're mentally weak in, and write it down. It could be, I hold on to bad moments, or I hold on to my mistakes. I get emotional. I let my emotions get the best of me. I I quit early. I don't get along with my teammates. I don't get along with my coaches. I don't like getting feedback. Um, Maybe the game comes too easy to me. I don't get along with my teammates. It doesn't matter what it is, but I want you to find one thing that we can work on, okay? And after you've done that, I want you to write down an area in which you think you can personally go and improve. You could stretch out of your comfort zone. What's one thing you can actually, do to help improve that and take that thing that's a weakness and make it a strength? Maybe I need to change my approach, my attitude. Maybe I need to put in more reps and give myself a little bit of grace because I haven't put in enough time to get that good. Whatever the case is, I want you to not be so critical of yourself, but to see if you can be a detective and find the solution. And if you're not sure, maybe you could ask either your friends, or you could ask your parents, or ask your coach. What do you think I could be doing different, coach? It's important to have that dialogue. So we know that you're coachable. We know that you can um, be given information so that we can keep adding to what it is that you're doing, rather than see you do the same thing over and over and over again. Let me let these people in. Great. And then the next part of it, I want you to give yourself a timeline. All right. So we're going to be getting together once a month for the next year. But we're in May now. Let's see if we can have something that we can attack to make the summer a little bit of a mini timeline. So we got 3 months, May, June, July, to be able to see if we can get you to shift and change and embrace this new skill that we're working on. So first one, write down an area where you're struggling with. Number two, see if you can identify something that you can do, an activity, an exercise, maybe even watching film, an attitude change to be able to help make that weakness become a strength. Number three, I want you to have a timeline. I'm going to try and get this done in 6 weeks. I'm going to try and get this done over the course of the summer so that by August 1st, I am a better athlete. Okay. And the last one, if you can, find even one more thing that you can do to help make this thing go from being a weakness to a strength. Okay. Failure is not failure if you're willing to learn from it. And so I always talk about the environment you're in being a laboratory. It doesn't have to be perfect. Even when you're in school, you're taking a quiz. The quiz is designed to give you a sense of where you are, how comfortable you are with the material you're studying. An A doesn't mean you got it all. An F doesn't mean that you don't know anything. It just gives us a little bit of a baseline of where you are and maybe identify what you need, what you're struggling with. So I want us to look at failure as a means of giving you information to see what you need to do better or what you need to do different. Some of you guys tend to struggle a lot because you care so much. And so our emotions get in the way. This is a very big thing, especially for Latin players in the baseball world or in certain sport populations. So we need to learn how to be able to put our emotions in check so we can deal with the adversity that comes with playing. Because even though we may get on a hit streak or we get on a hot streak or a win streak, at some point it's going to come to an end. And you still have to be able to learn how to deal with that to overcome the lessons that are being presented to you or forced for you to learn. So then you can turn around and start that win streak again. I'm working with Cal State Northridge's baseball team. We were in a 3-way tie for conference for first place. They just came back from Hawaii and lost 3 in a row. It's the first time they've done that all season long. Well, guess what? We still have 4 more series of games to play. So there's still a lot of baseball. But you got to learn from that experience so that you can take that into the next series, the next game, the next practice, and not be beating yourself up thinking about the mistakes we made or the struggle we had. You got to learn what you need to take away and what you learn and put that into your work. I think this is interesting because your generation, gang, is a little different. I think you guys understand that to a degree, we as parents have kind of made things a little easier on you. And so the best way for us to help you rise to the moment is to challenge you, but challenge you in a way that's going to allow you to grow, to have fun, and not focus so much on the trophies, but focus on the process of getting better. That's going to be our job. So we're going to try and frame things in a way that helps you learn that you're in control of your success and your destiny. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's close this. So again, what's our goal? Our goal is to try and make sure that every time you step out onto the field, you're feeling good about yourself. You're not letting the tough moments, challenging moments get to you to a point where you feel defeated and deflated. A person who has a defeated attitude or a deflated level of confidence is not a successful athlete. They're not going to be successful in life. They're not going to be successful in the classroom. So our job is to pump your tires with some air or show you how to do it so that you can do it on your own. So that no matter if you're 0 for 3 as a baseball player, you believe that you're one swing away from the hit and it's going to happen at that next at bat. All right. There's this amazing coach who just retired named Coach Krzyzewski. He has a phenomenal book called The 12 Standards, the Goal Standards. And it's a great book for anyone, especially if you're an athlete, to want to read. But he talks about these collective qualities and traits of a mentally tough player and team. They don't have excuses. They defend their tails off. They care about each other. They care about how they look and how they play. They communicate. Communication's a huge gift, but has to be worked and developed. They trust in each other. They care and they take responsibility. They respect each other. There's a level of intelligence, which means they're always studying the game and they're trying to get better. All these other things, those they could be altered. Maybe you may want to add something to this list. But when we see someone who really respects the game and plays it at a level that just takes our breath away, chances are they embody what you see on this list. So what I'm hoping that we're going to do is that over time, you all are going to embrace some of these things for yourself. Maybe you're going to take one of these things and say, you know what, Mom, Dad, Coach, I'm going to try and see if I can be an unselfish player this summer. I'm going to try and see if I can become more responsible, even more aggressive in how I play. Because if we can get you to do that, you're going to have a great summer and you're going to see the growth. You're going to see the difference. So will your teammates and so will your family. All right, so I said we're going to have 12 sessions. We're going to talk about a different topic once a month. And these are the topics that we're going to be exploring. We're going to talk about facing adversity and embracing it. We're going to talk about body language and what that says to an opponent. We're going to talk about learning how to let go of mistakes. That serves you no matter who you are, where you are, what age you are. We're going to talk about and introduce visualization, the power of visualization, which is why I have J.J. McCarthy there. That was what he did frequently before every game. And that was him before winning the national championship. We're going to talk about self-talk, which is that conversation we have with ourselves. We're going to talk about arousal and anxiety because they both come from the same bucket. And you need to learn how to be able to manage that and direct it so that that energy serves you and it becomes a weapon as opposed to something that overwhelms you. We're going to talk about the power of mental nutrition because what you feed between your ears is as important as what you put in your mouth. We're going to talk about the power of routines. because routines help set you up for success. Talk about goal setting, burnout, competition, and lastly, knowing yourself. So we haven't created a specific timeline, but by the time we meet again a month from now, you will have this list and we'll have dates attached to them. All right. So now I'm going to get out of here and I'm going to ask if there are any questions that anybody has. Let me max this out here. So if you have questions, unmute yourself, tell me your name, and let's see if we can answer a question or two. Don't everybody talk at once. How about parents?
Okay, I'll go.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Let me see. Let me find you.
My name is Raquel Roland. My son is Dylan Roland.
Hi, Raquel. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, no problem. Yes. So basically, I guess my question would be more towards the burnout side of it. He's 11 years old and he's been playing for about 2 years now with about a year and a half for travel baseball, which is obviously a complete different level coming from, he's played Little League since he was 3 years old. So
Okay.
he does a lot of training and workouts. And I just, obviously he knows when he's tired, so we let him rest. But is there such thing as doing too much?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So here's my free 2 cents and shortened version of an answer. If it's something they want to do, then let them. But if it's something that's constantly being pushed by mom, dad, coaches, and other people, and you see that they're really exhausted, trust your instinct and say, you know what, we're going to stay home today. We're going to go to the park. We're going to have a mommy and me day. So that there is a balance that's necessary.
Right.
Okay, we got Alvaro over there saying, mommy and me, what? Why would I do that? All right, you daddy and me, or two brothers. Okay, but the issue is still the same. The solution is still the same. We need to find time where we recharge our batteries so we can enjoy what it is that we do. Because the
Yes.
most successful athletes, the most successful people, they have a passion, they have a drive. Some of them are maybe a little bit obsessed, which is fine so long as it's coming from them. When we kind of force feed it, at some point, it becomes too much work.
Right.
Because you're seeing that right now, even at 11. Wow, in order for my little guy to be able to keep up with these kids, man, we got to get a swing coach, we got to get a throwing coach, we got a fielding, all this stuff. And we only have 24 hours in the day. We probably have other kids we're trying to take care of, and we running around. It gets exhausting, and then it can create tension in the home.
Okay.
So
Yes.
if it's what he wants, great. We'll find a way, right? The village, and don't be afraid of asking the village for help.
Right.
Because it is hard. It's very demanding. And like I said, unless she's the only child, even then, you don't want to get overwhelmed yourself as a parent.
Okay.
That time will come.
Yeah, and I think as a parent, it gets overwhelming at some time, but like you said, if it's something he wants to do, then I'll go ahead and do it. But if not,
Do what
then
you can, but be willing to have an honest conversation and say, you know what, sweetheart, um, mommy and daddy can't do that weekend tournament. One, we don't have the funds,
right.
and we need some time for us as a family. I can't think of any person in their right mind as a coach who would say no to that.
Okay.
And yet there'll be a couple who do. They will. But you have to stand firm and say, you know what? At the end of the day, family matters.
Okay.
That has to be priority. Oops,
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you.
You bet. You're very welcome. Thank you. Who else?
Hi, I have a question.
Hi there.
Hi, so for a young player, my son's 8, um, other than telling him to take a deep breath, what would be a tangible tool he could use to kind of get out of his head when a play doesn't go his way?
Oh, he's one of those kids, huh? So, um, remind him of why he's playing. You know, even at the pro level, they have to be reminded that they're playing a game and they're there to play. And the more success you have, it's linked to you having fun. And at the age of 8, there's no scouts out there trying to check him out. So why is he having all this pressure that he's putting on himself?
Right.
Tell him just to go play.
Mm-hmm.
And the more swings you take, the greater likelihood of you having success in hitting the ball. Every kid, listen, none of us shows up and puts a bat in our hand or shows up to work where we've prepared for a loss or to do poorly. It kind of comes with the territory. So we've got to learn how to deal with it and not fix it for them as parents, but to encourage them to say, you're one swing away from hit. Just keep swinging. I'm not gonna let you walk home because I'm disappointed in your performance. In fact, if you have a bad day, we just get a bigger 2 scoops of ice cream instead of one, especially at the age of 8.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Love these questions. All right, I'm gonna pick
Hi,
on.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi,
Where are you?
I'm my son is LJ Flores.
LJ, how you doing?
Okay, my question is, Dad's not here. He had to go make an errand, but
No, he was too
my-
chicken shit.
yeah. So my question is, my son is 13. He's been playing football, baseball for a couple of years nonstop.
Okay.
Every day it's something. It's football in 2 different teams and then CBA. So my husband is always giving advice, showing him videos, trying to tell LJ, hey, maybe if you do this, do that, whatever, right?
Yeah.
They bump heads like 2 bulls in a pen, like constant. Like it's like bam, like you can't get a simple conversation or a simple, oh yeah, Dad, yeah, I see that, you're right. No, it's always, um, did you do that? When did you ever do that, Dad? You know,
Mm.
like that. So it's kind of like,
Boy,
since,
that's big.
yeah,
That's big.
and it's gone worse because now he's 13.
Yeah. No, he's
He's
going through the adolescent stage. And it's like, I want to
yeah.
be a man, but I'm not quite a man. And it's like, can you not? And as I tell parents, I learned this from a coach. He would go through practice trying to catch somebody doing something right. And there was something so amazing about that because here's what he would say. He'd go up to the person, he'd say, hey, what are you doing? And they think like they got in trouble. And then he'd turn around and say, don't make me like you. I like what you're doing. And it was like a verbal hit and run where everyone was like, what did he say? And it would take a while to sink in, but it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Now, I will tell you that us dads, at some point, we clash with our kids, just like moms tend to do with their daughters. It's just part of growing up and raising our kids. It isn't, and it's not easy, but we have to learn how to coach them and parent them differently if we're going to advance and help them be better. Otherwise, we're just doing the same thing that our parents did to us, right?
Right.
So I wish Dad was here, but he's not
Yeah.
here. So here's the thing that we can control, LJ, and this is important for you. Sometimes we as dads make the mistake of trying to show our love in a raw, emotional way. And even though what we're trying to do is love you, what we're doing without realizing it is we're choking the love out of you. We're choking the passion out of you. It's not what the intention is, but that's how it's coming off. So, what can you control? There's a difference between feedback and criticism. It's presented the same way. It's coming from a place of, let's say it's a teacher. I want you to be better. So I graded your test score. You got a 65. Not good. And I'm putting all kinds of red pens on there. Now, do you think I'm doing that because I say I don't like LJ, so I'm going to put more red on here? No, because I don't get paid any more for the markings on that paper. The markings on that paper mean I care and I'm taking the time to try and show you what you need more work on. If you look at it as, man, I'm terrible, they won't like me, you're seeing that information as criticism, when in reality, that teacher's trying to love on you. And a lot of times, ladies and gentlemen, we do the same thing with our parents, where we have heard so much of it, we tune it out, and now we think everything they say is criticism. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. So there's a two-part solution. I would tell dad if he was here what part he needs to do, and that is just let you figure it out. Because we'll talk about motivation. Motivation has to come from you, not from dad shoving it into your head, not from mom. It has to come from the individual. And if that happens, good stuff's going to happen no matter what you do. Even if you stop playing football, stop playing baseball, and go on to something else. But that has to be part of your journey. And you have to maintain, I want everyone to hear this. This is so important. You have to maintain coachability. You have to always stay coachable. Because a person who shuts down with their emotions, their anger, their frustrations, ooh, now that affects all kinds of things that I put up in the earlier slide. Body language, attitude, your ability to take in information, your ability to make good decisions, your ability to recover from one mistake or a fumble or a strikeout to the next play. So if we're going to make you better, you got to take control and charge of what you have control of, which is also your response. Stay coachable. Learn how to filter the stuff, the noise out. Because at some point, dad won't be there, but somebody else in the stands will. And let's say you're playing for the Yankees. You got a fat contract. You were so good, and you just continue to grow. And all of a sudden, you go to Yankee Stadium. And you know how Yankee fans are. They're going to find all kinds of dirt on you. They're going to know that sister that you left, or, because you were jealous, or that girl you turned away, you left at prom because you got upset. They're going to find all kinds of stuff on you. And they're going to have it on all kinds of signs. They're going to have it on the internet. They're going to blow it up. How are you going to manage that? Are you going to let that get in your head? Or are you going to go out there and you're going to play in spite of the distractions? So that's what these things are going to help you learn how to be able to manage, because it's not just about baseball. It's about life. So stay coachable. And as weird as this is, again, I'm going to leave this for everybody. Sometimes the people who rub us the wrong way are our greatest teachers, because they're teaching you the most challenging, toughest lessons that life can present. And when you learn how to deal with it better, you start becoming a better athlete and better human being. And now you will change how you will be when you become a dad, instead of holding on to the bitterness and the anger. But it's hard, because we were all 13. We're all going through that stuff. Appreciate you. That's such three phenomenal questions. And I love that mom had the courage to talk about this, because most parents are afraid to. But guess what? Every family goes through it.
Yeah, going back to that, what the mom was saying about like keeping her son at home.
Yes.
If he's tired. Okay. I turned around and I told him, I go, you don't let me keep you home. you don't let me tell you, LJ, you need a rest. If I tell him that, he goes, no, 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 I gotta go to football. No,
Let him
no,
go.
no. I
Let
got,
him go, Mom. Let him
and I
go.
said, oh, okay. I go, all right. Like if he comes home, has to change and drive out to baseball practice, he don't mind. He don't care.
Good,
So
good. That's instilling work ethic.
I guess I just follow.
It's, as my wife says, we never stop parenting. But he's blessed to have two parents who care.
Too much.
Yeah, sometimes yes, and yes, or in a different way. Yes, I feel you.
Yeah. Thank you so
Much
much.
love. You're welcome. All right, I'll take one more question.
Hey Mario, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Kim. How you doing?
Good, good. I'm gonna ask this kind of in a way that I think a lot of kids are probably thinking, or maybe thinking but not really knowing.
Yes.
So a lot of times, and this is gonna be kind of like a codependency on a coach, or a coach, and I want to speak about myself where I instill a lot of stuff, and then it becomes more of a perfectionism out of them. Where What can a kid do if they're feeling codependent or they're relying on the confidence of a coach instead of within themselves? As that'll be one question. And the other question would be, what if it's vice versa and they're putting too much they're putting too much on them, and they're looking at, or they're trying to be perfect at something, and they're always feeling like they're failing?
Wow. All right, let me start with the first one. Like we said with LJ, motivation, gang, has to and should come from you because you love doing what you do, or you have dreams of maybe wanting to play whatever sport you participate in at a high level. And even if you don't want to play it at a high level, you just want to play high school ball or club ball. Love what you get to do and put in the work. Don't have someone tell you that you should be doing this. That's setting you up for failure. Okay, that's real important. Love what you do because it is going to be work. And if you start enjoying what you do more, then the work gets a little easier. Okay, but remember, if the majority of the people who are on this call are baseball players, there's a lot of failure in baseball. And so you have to bring the right attitude to give yourself a better chance of success. But if you are always being a sourpuss because you're holding on to your mistake, you're holding on to the this last at bat, which is a strikeout. You're looking only for success measured in terms of hit or a win. You're not going to find a lot of happiness because there's so much work that has to happen. So learn how to see work as fun. Learn how to see the game as a game. And this idea of coach about being a perfectionist, there's nothing perfect about the game except the fact that you get to play. It has to be looked at that way. You cannot look at yourself and say, oh my gosh, I was 1 for 4. I was terrible. No, you got hit. And obviously maturity comes into play. The younger kids are probably going to have a tougher time understanding that. And so for us as coaches and parents, the best thing we can do to help them navigate to that next level of maturity is to believe in them and to say, you got this. It's not a matter of when or if, it's a matter of when. And what you control, your approach, is going to determine how quickly that win's going to happen. But I don't want you to come out here being perfect. I want to see you get your feet dirty, your hands dirty. I want to see you get your uniform dirty. I want to see what kind of hard 90 you run. Those are the things that we as coaches need to start emphasizing. And then, as I said earlier, catching them doing well so that they can start measuring their growth and success by those things and not just the stat. Because if they do that, it's going to be a long journey, longer than it needs to be. But we'll talk more about that. Mr. Joe, you want to jump in?
I can.
Oh, I've got from Oscar Vera. Great question, AK. To piggyback on the perfectionist question, how do us parents deal with performance anxiety? Well, I kind of want to say we're going to talk about that, I promise. Performance anxiety comes in a lot of different ways, shapes, forms, but it's there because everybody cares. Everyone cares about what they do and how they look. What we need to start doing is not focus on that, but focus on, as an old mentor of mine used to say, just swing the axe and chop wood. And the more you swing the axe and chop wood, over time, the tree's going to fall. You can't expect for the tree to fall with one swing or two swings or four swings in a game. Be patient. And parents, this is where we can help. Don't be the critical voice. Be the cheerleader, especially in the younger mind. That's how we help them learn how to believe that it's okay to fail. It's okay if you missed, as long as you keep trying. That's what I care about. Because baseball's a really hard game. Baseball's a very hard game. It's very challenging. It's meant to be challenging to stretch them, to help them learn life lessons. So we don't have to teach all of these life lessons to them as parents. Let's let the game help us out. I hope that answered that question. Good follow-up though. Okay. I think we're going to park it there. And as I said, we will send some notices out to let you know what the next conversations are going to be, what that topic's going to be. I'm going to get my graduate students on board. They're going to be sharing some of these presentation responsibilities with me. And for those of you who are in the Legends family, we'll create, I think, some signups for you guys to go on. You could see what their availabilities are and or mine. Mine's going to be a little harder for you to get a hold of me. That's why I have my graduate students working. But we're going to take advantage of trying to give you guys some one-on-one coaching. Okay. Joey?
Yeah, I saw a Phil sighting there a second ago. There you go. No, thank you. Thanks for taking the time. I feel like everybody on this call probably got a good amount out of this. I think that these are resources that are often neglected as far as, mental health and performance in sports, especially in youth sports. Those resources aren't always readily available. So I hope that you guys can tune in for these calls over the next 12 months, because these are carefully mapped out by Coach Mario. He's been working alongside with me on certain projects for the last 5 years, and I've become a better coach because of it. I've learned how to interact with players better over the years because of him. And so I hope that parents, as well as athletes, and I think there's some older athletes in here as well that don't play baseball, I think that they can also get a ton out of this. And so for us, it's about taking, and we've been saying this as a theme lately, taking a more holistic approach towards athlete development. Obviously, we work in the strength space, but I think mental strength is even more important, right? Because if you don't have that mind-body connection, it's really hard to compete in any sport, right? So just, hopefully we can be proactive in how we attack this, right? And not wait for, the wheels to fall off before we start making adjustments, right? So thanks again, Mario, for taking this time, and for everybody to help promote this, and hopefully we can continue this trajectory. And just want to make sure I send this message home that there's a lot for you guys. If you guys ever need help with anything, just feel free to reach out. I'm usually at our facility here in Fontana Monday through Thursday, some Fridays, and stop by. If you have some questions, feel free. Or if you can't, if you're not in the area, go ahead and reach out via email. It's probably the best way to get to me. But yeah, here as a resource for you as well.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Joe.
Appreciate you guys. You're most
Yes.
welcome. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you. Have a great month. Do the homework, because we're going to pick up in our next conversation with your answers. Okay. God bless everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.